Hello, the purpose of this presentation is to highlight some of the important information about administering the Aspire and to go over the process for test day. Full details for administration are in the room supervisor's manual. The test will be Tuesday, April 27th. We're running a regular schedule with a 9 a.m. start time. Only 9th and 10th graders will attend, so please be in your testing room with the student login authorization tickets by 8:50. Come to counseling to pick up those tickets the morning of the test. All testing personnel are required to read the ACT Aspire Room Supervisor's Manual. Students are not allowed to have cell phones or any electronic communication devices on their person. Hopefully they won't even bring them into the testing room, but if they do, they must be turned off and placed under their desks. Standardized testing procedures will be in place, so never leave a test room unattended. Read the verbal instructions verbatim. Please pay attention to students in testing, not other activities like reading or correcting papers. Conversations must be kept quiet and to a minimum, and please make sure you're walking around the room to discourage prohibited behaviors. As a room supervisor, it's your responsibility to hand out the authorization tickets, which is the unique login information for each student. Hand these out at the start, collect them during lunch and when you're done with testing. They'll also be using these authorization tickets. It's a full sheet of paper with a very little text on it. They can use these as scratch paper, and scratch paper must be collected at the end of testing as well. So students will see their room rosters on test day. They'll come in, there'll be posters, they'll see where they're going to test. Remember, we have students that will be in the building for the very first time, so there'll be a lot of staff out helping students find their test room. You must assign students to specific seats, so sometimes friends come in together. It's very important that you tell the student where to sit. And remind students that there is a no cell phone policy. Some students, unfortunately, will come without a charged laptop. If that happens in your room, please send them to the LMC. We'll get their laptop on the charging station, and then they will go to one of the desktop labs while their Chromebook charges. Once it's charged, they'll come back to your room at the start of the next test. Here's the schedule for today, or the day. It's a tight schedule. There's not a lot of transition time built in. Well, really none, but there's 20 minutes at the end. So please just be aware, it's a tight schedule. We have a 9 o'clock start this year. To keep that 9 o'clock start and get the whole test in, we have to be quick. So just be efficient. That being said, we want the breaks to be at similar times. So please try not to begin testing before 9:10, but no later than 9:20 a.m. The time in each room varies, but for the most part, if we start between 9:10 and 9:20, we won't have the breaks and everybody spread out too much, and everybody will be available and ready for that 30-minute lunch we have. So when the students are testing, they're not actually logging into their Chromebook. So most of them will open up their Chromebook, muscle memory will have them log in, remind them not to log in or to log out if they have, and then from the beginning screen, they go to the apps and they choose Test Nav, and that's where the test is located. Now, the authorization tickets we talked about, each student will have 5. They'll be stapled together. Please, they'll be in the order that we are testing, but please look to make sure that they're using the correct ticket to log into the correct test. Each test has a different time, so it's very important that they're taking the test that we want them to take. And as I said before, they can be used, the tickets, as scratch paper. It's important to collect them at the end. Here's the order we're going to be testing in: math, reading, writing, science, English. The tickets are stapled in that order. The hard copy verbal instructions you will be given will be in that order, but the order in the test room supervisor's manual is different. They have it alphabetical order, right? So it's very important that you're giving the tests in the order that they're intended to be given. So follow the schedule or use the hard copy instructions. Those are the right order. Students are allowed, but not required, to use an approved calculator on the math test. They've been given a list of what an approved calculator is, so if a student brings their own calculator, it should be match that list. I'll be giving you a list too. I wouldn't worry too much. We don't really have unapproved calculators very often. Don't worry if a student doesn't have a calculator. There's one built within the test itself that they can use. So in terms of timing, the online system will display a countdown timer for each student. We still require that you, in the verbal instructions, write the start and stop times, but each student will have a bit of a unique time depending on how quickly they log in. So to keep Chromebooks charged all day, it's very important that students completely close their Chromebooks when they're finished with the testing session. It's also important that you're walking around the room making sure that students aren't using their Chromebook for other entertainment purposes. They shouldn't be logged into anything other than TestNav. And when they're done testing, shut their Chromebooks so we can save power. That includes during breaks and lunch. For breaks, don't dismiss students for breaks before the scheduled break time to a degree, right? Each room is going to be a little different. Things happen, so you're not always starting right on time, but try to maintain that schedule. Rooms may finish early, rooms may finish quite early, right? Keep the students quiet, keep the testing environment, even though most people may be done. Students may use the restroom one at a time per room, but they won't get extra time. So let them know if they use the restroom that the timer's still running. Some of the prohibited behaviors are using a cell phone or electronic communication device, looking at someone else's screen or scratch paper, giving or receiving assistance, and disturbing other students. There are other prohibited behaviors listed in the room supervisor's manual. Please be aware of those. Prohibited behaviors result in dismissal. If you need help, call Patty or Tammy. If it's a technical issue, it will be resolved by the counselors. If it's a behavior issue, it'll be resolved by administrators. So when calling for assistance, let them know if it's more of a technical or a behavioral issue. Okay, that's it. Please remember, read the room supervisor's manual. You'll be giving an electronic copy of that. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Good luck. I hope it goes smooth. Thank you for listening.